Yeah, I can't talk about the walk-ons today. I think I'll be able to. I think once we start spring practice, I think once they kind of get through all the application stuff that they got to go through, then I can formally talk about the guys that, like I said, there'll be 3 or 4 guys out there that we'll bring in this summer. But compliance said I could not formally talk about that today. So there you go.
Coach, I'd like to get your first impressions of DJ, and obviously everybody knows about his arm talent, but many have characterized him as more of a Ben Roethlisberger type as far as his running ability, but Coach Streeter was telling me that his athleticism is really underrated. Does he fit what you like to do pretty well just from a running quarterback?
He can do anything. That's what they said about Trevor, too, when he came in. You know, he apparently wasn't a guy that could run. I think that myth has gone out the window. DJ can do anything you want him to. I mean, he's fast and strong and powerful, and he's a very, very athletic guy. You know, so there's nothing that we need him to do that he can't do.
Yeah, but what does it mean to have Travis back? And was any part of you surprised that he decided to come back?
Well, I mean, the answer is no. I was initially surprised a little bit because he really told me before the bowl game that he was really leaning to coming back. Because usually when I meet with these guys, and we have a ton of information, and Woody does a great job of really kind of managing all that and meeting with the scouts and getting the grades and really getting a detailed report on exactly where these guys are. Not all the .com stuff, but exactly where they are. And it's just very important. And so when I meet with these guys, because sometimes, you know, it's a waste of my time, you know, so I always ask them, I'm like, you know, before I ever even tell them anything, I'm like, what's your mindset right now? Because I've had some guys, it doesn't matter what I tell them. I mean, I could tell them, you know, I've had some guys that I've told, you're not going to be drafted. And they'll look at you and say, I think I will, and they leave. So, okay, you know, at the end of the day, they got to make the decision, and they have their mind made up. And, I mean, so there's really no sense in us sitting around, you know, having a big in-depth conversation if they've got their mind made up. But I will say, well, here's kind of where it's going to be, and, you know, and they'll say, well, I'm good with that. And then sometimes you have guys that see the bigger picture, and some guys are patient, some guys are not patient. You know, everybody's motivated by different factors, and they have different dynamics in their lives, whatever. You know, it's really unpredictable that way. But I usually ask them kind of where you are. And so when I sat down with Trav, that was the first thing I said. I said, you know, I knew what his grade was. I knew what the comments were. And I said, you know, tell me what you're thinking right now before we get into this. And he said, honestly? And I was like, yeah. He said, I'm thinking about coming back, Coach. And I went, really? So that surprised me a little bit because I felt like he was probably going to be more, well, I really want to just kind of see what you got to say before I get into it. But he really was kind of leaning that way. And he and I said, well, why is that? And he told me why. And I said, okay. Well, we got a conversation that we need to have then. Here's this information, and let's talk about it, and let's talk about what that means, and so forth. But so I wasn't surprised after the bowl game that, you know, he said, hey, I'm coming back, and he was pumped up to tell me, and he's enjoyed his time, and I think that for him, you know, he got a second round grade. And I think for him, you know, if he leaves here as a second rounder next year, I mean, he'll do cartwheels. But he's got his degree. He feels like he's a little more, you know, ready. He feels complete. And I just think, you know, leaving early for him as a second rounder, I think he felt a little incomplete. And so I think he's the best back in the country in this period. But, you know, I mean, obviously I'm pretty biased when it comes to that. But he's got a great future ahead of him, and I'm excited about the fact that he's back. He'll be a great leader. He's been awesome already. You know, we got him for another, I don't know how long. We don't have not long. What, 9, 10 months or so? 9 more months or so. But I do think that that's got a chance to really, really pay off for him. So should be fun. It's nice to know he's back. I'd already given his number 9 away. Had about 10 people want his number 9. These old boys, man, they're vultures. They're vultures around here with them numbers. So had a line of guys with 9. I'm like, yeah, not so fast. Had to find another number.
How did he tell you?
How did he tell me? Well, he called. He called me and Woody, and we were having a team meeting. I think it was that Friday. That Friday, we were having getting ready to start recruiting, and I like to kind of get a new team together and kind of give everybody some direction when you come off that last game, and because it's kind of limbo time. So we were getting ready for a weekend and our banquet and all that stuff, and so he called me before that and told me he was on his way back, and he took a day and about 2 days to really think about it and talk through it with his family, and so that's why I found out. He just called.
Dabo, with the change in the recruiting signing dates to December and the success of the program going so further into the year, how much has that affected you guys as far as implementing your recruiting plans?
Hasn't really changed anything for us, to be honest with you. I mean, if you guys that follow us, y'all know the great majority of our class has usually been committed in the summer, usually by August. So to be honest with you, most of our guys would sign in August if they were allowed to. So it really hasn't changed anything for us. The only thing that has changed is we actually take that day in December to, sign the guys. That's really the only thing, and that's been fun. Just kind of the last couple of years, it's just a part of what we do. But that part hasn't changed anything. We don't do spring official visits. A lot of people do those. That's a new rule that passed a couple of years ago. We've not done any. We don't do any spring official visits. I just think that again, it's easy to take an official visit. It's a little harder to come on your own, and but you got to really be interested to come on your own. So it's just kind of been our philosophy. That's what we do. But it hasn't changed anything for us, with the exception of it's changed our January for the better, because our guys they've all signed, and so now instead of spending all of January riding around, chasing. Cause a lot of our guys are mid-years too. For whatever reason, that's kind of what happens in today's culture. So last year I think we had 17 mid-years. This year we got 15. So most of those guys would be signing anyway in here. So the opportunity those guys have to get it out of the way, it's been great. It's been great for us. It's been great for them, and so. We still go see those guys in January that aren't here yet, but really it allows us to kind of get a head start in our evaluation for next year's class and start, really working hard on that due diligence and zeroing in on next year's group.
What was your conversations with Chase? Ultimately, his decision to go to Duke and everything.
Yeah, it was great. We spent a lot of time talking together, and I called David. We talked about what the options were, and just making sure we get in the right situation, the right spot. I mean, I love Chase. He's been amazing, and to me, just as I've said many times, graduation should create opportunities and options for young people. It's just the way it is, and he's put the work in, and he came to Clemson. He achieved what he came here to do. And the fact that he's gotten his degrees created some other opportunities. It's like another senior, moving on, whether they're moving on to a job or they're moving on to the NFL. And what he did on the field here has also created opportunity for himself. It's not like he's some slug that nobody knows. I mean, this guy can play. I think he's a pro, personally. I think he's a guy that's going to really have a great shot to play at the next level. I think we had the two best quarterbacks in the ACC on the same team last year. It's what I think. I think he's that good. And so, I tried to give him some he was great, and especially how he handled it. Because I'm going to tell you, Chase, he prepared every single week as if he was the starter. and he was into every play. I mean, Chase and I would talk a lot during games, and he was very in tune to the game, very in tune to Trevor. He making suggestions, tell me what he sees, and he was almost like a coach, but he was very in tune to what's going on, and just such a selfless young man, so committed to his role, and so prepared to go win the game. And he played. I think he probably played the most snaps of any backup in the country, where the starter didn't get hurt. I mean, so he's got a lot of tape, and a lot of opportunity to play and develop. I think that was important to me, for him to have that opportunity, because he deserved it. And we never even talked about it. Never. First time, I've assumed maybe it would be something he would consider, but he wouldn't even entertain the conversation, ever. He was just focused on what he was doing and this team and being a great teammate and being ready for his team. He once the season was over, he called me when we got back, and we had a good talk about it. We met, and we talked about kind of some options and kind of what we were looking for and what he was looking for. I'm very, very happy that it worked out for him to go to Duke. And, I called David. We had a great conversation. Coach Cutt's one of the best people I know. I mean, he's one of the top 2 or 3 people that I would call for anything. And so just a ton of respect for him. And I think, and obviously he's got a great background with quarterbacks. And so I think it's a good fit. He's got a couple of high school teammates up there. So I think it's a great opportunity for Chase, and super excited for him.
Dabo, how have the guys handled the past month? Because a lot of them hadn't lost before.
Yeah,
Have they
yeah.
come back and handled things the right way? And,
Yeah.
got focused the way you want them to get focused?
Absolutely. I mean, listen. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to lose. I was at the Super Bowl this weekend. I was really, really excited for the Chiefs and our guys, but man, I was really, really down for the other team, because I've been on both sides, and it's tough. You put so much into it, and the season has to end. But you know what? I'd rather have to deal with that feeling than to never get there. And I like the fact that we were a ACC champion team, we were a Fiesta Bowl champion team, a playoff win, and a few plays away, and we got beat by a great team. And when you play in the games like that, you're going to play a great team. We're 6-3 in the playoff era in those games, and they're hard. They're hard to win, and you got to make the winning plays. And there were some winning plays that we didn't make that they made, so they won the game. And but our guys competed, man. Our preparation was unbelievable. I mean, just tremendous preparation, focus, commitment. I mean, I can't be more proud of our team. And so, it was a great year. But as you said, the great majority of our roster never lost a game. And so from that standpoint, it was something that I paid close attention to, especially with Trevor. I've never experienced a loss with him. But it was, he was amazing, how he handled it, how the team responded, and, back to work. It's a gut punch. I mean, just for sure, and you're down for a couple of days. And, especially with our profession and with what these kids are doing, we all come up short sometimes in life. We all have disappointment. We all fail according to the objective. But most of the time, that failure, that disappointment, is confined to a small group of people, or just your business that you have, or your family. But with what we do, it's in front of everybody. And you feel that pain, you feel that burden, because you want to get it done. So again, I've been on both sides of it, and I know the agony of it, and I know the joy of it. But it's all good. It's all good, and it's all part of life and the journey, and you got to love it all, man. You can't have fear that type of stuff, and you just grow. You just grow. Either way, you grow. And that's a decision and a choice, how you respond to the win, how you respond to a tough loss. And our team has been amazing. The leadership's been great, and it's been good for me to be able to kind of see that because, again, so many of these guys, I was convinced we were never going to lose again, like ever, like 250 in a row and right off into the sunset. But we're probably not going to win the national championship every year. But hopefully we can be a team that's got a shot year in and year out. And if we can continually be a team that's got a shot, then, we'll have those years where we'll finish it. And it just takes so much to get there. So our guys have done a great job. Trevor was great. He was very disappointed. He was disappointed, but his leadership was tremendous. He went around the whole locker room, talking to his team and his teammates, and these guys have been great. So you know what? As a competitor, I have a great respect for the team that won because they won it. And you shake your hand, you shake their hand, you tip your hat, and you dust yourself off, and you get back up and you get back in the fight, and that's what we're gonna do. Man, it's over. It's over. So it's a new year. It's like I said, a new decade and a new journey. And for us, we're 3 weeks from today, we're back on the field, man, and we're going to start the process of building this 2020 team and getting ready for 6.5 months. We'll get back on the field, going to Atlanta. Our schedule's out. I can start kind of visualizing that a little bit. And again, most of our guys are here, so we can start really molding the team and see what we can do next year.
Coach, you lose 3 of your top 4 safeties.